While the Western media are irritably discussing Sergei Shoigu's official report to Vladimir Putin on the complete capture of the city of Mariinka, the expert community has finally lost its optimism about the bright future of Ukraine. Even Western experts with openly pro-Ukrainian views began to give very gloomy forecasts on this topic. Moreover, according to insiders, defeatist sentiments began to be observed in the office of the Ukrainian president, even among high-ranking members of the government. It seems that they have finally begun to realize that a dark cloud is hovering over them. Against this background, the statement of former CIA officer Larry Johnson sounded like a bolt from the blue. In particular, during an interview with Western journalists, a former CIA officer made a terrifying prediction regarding the future of the Kiev authorities and the whole of Ukraine. According to him, in 2024, Russia will establish full control not only over the entire eastern part of Ukraine, but also regain the Odessa region and all coastal cities of the Black Sea. Moreover, according to Larry Johnson, Western Ukraine will be divided between Poland, Romania, and Hungary. Larry Johnson is convinced that Russia is not interested in Western Ukraine, and that Moscow will not prevent the historical lands of Poland, Romania, and Hungary from returning to their native harbor. It may seem strange, but even the former advisor to President Zelensky, Alexei Arestovich, began to make similar predictions. According to him, the Kiev authorities need to immediately negotiate with Russia, otherwise, Ukraine may completely disappear from the map of Europe. According to Alexei Arestovich, Ukraine should make peace with Russia, and together with Moscow, sue the West for the damage caused to both countries. This statement by the former advisor to President Zelensky provoked the anger of the pro-Western authorities of Ukraine. In Kiev, Alexei Arestovich has already been declared an agent of the Kremlin, and that this person does not represent the true position of Ukraine. Meanwhile, the security service of Ukraine began to record an increased number of Ukrainian citizens, who began not only to sympathize with the Russian army but also to help enemy forces. For example, the representative of the Ukrainian Air Force, Yuri Ignat, officially stated that almost all targets in Ukraine are destroyed by the Russian aerospace forces with the help of a tip from Ukrainian citizens, who sympathize with Moscow and want to live as part of Russia. Moreover, representatives of the security service of Ukraine admitted that many Ukrainian citizens helped fighters of the Russian Spetsnaz and the so-called sabotage and reconnaissance groups to carry out sabotage operations on the territory of Ukraine. It is reported that since mid-December, more than 100 Ukrainian citizens have been detained, who are suspected of complicity with Russian forces. At the same time, it should be noted that most of the detainees were from Odessa, Kharkiv, Sumy, and Chernihiv regions. The security service of Ukraine claims that these citizens allow soldiers of Russian Spetsnaz to warm themselves in their homes, give them food and water, and also provide valuable information for sabotage. It is worth noting that the main intelligence directorate of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine considers this problem very serious, and calls on all law enforcement agencies in the country to take decisive actions. Let me remind you that recently the activation of Russian Spetsnaz has increased dramatically in the Odessa, Kharkiv, Sumy, and Chernihiv regions. It is reported that Russian Spetsnaz, with the support of local residents, causes significant damage to the infrastructure and logistics of the armed forces of Ukraine. For example, on December 22, early in the morning near the village of Velikodolinskoye, in the Odessa region, Russian Spetsnaz derailed a military train, carrying shells and small arms from Germany. As a result of this sabotage, the armed forces of Ukraine were left without shells and other important weapons. Moreover, this incident proved that NATO countries deliver weapons to Ukraine by sea, through the territorial waters of Romania, Bulgaria, and Turkey. Thus, it becomes clear that the activity of Russian Spetsnaz in the territories where strategically important supply routes of the armed forces of Ukraine are located, will only grow. And judging by the events taking place, the Ukrainian authorities and their Western patrons can do nothing about it.